Greetings, YouTube! The Doctor is in. Dr. Urius Papers here, coming at you with another commentary on Dungeons and Dragons. And today we are going to be talking about the spell Plane Shift. We've got the Legacy version up here right now. We're going to be comparing this to the 2024 version. There was a huge, gigantic nerf to this spell. It is a 7th level spell. We are also going to be looking at the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd edition versions of Plane Shift. So don't go anywhere and stay tuned. All right. So first off, before we get into this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you have any questions or comments, please leave a question or comment. Don't forget to share this video, and don't forget to hit that notification bell. All right, back in the day, when we originally reviewed this spell, we gave this spell an A+. And we gave it this spell an A+ for one reason, and one reason and only, and it is the last part of this spell. So this is a 7th level spell. It takes one action, has a range of touch, verbal, somatic, and material component. The material component did cost some money, but you got to use it over and over again. And it was usable by clerics, druids, sorcerers, warlocks, and wizards. So you and up to 8 willing creatures who link hands in a circle are transported to a different plane of existence. And you can specify the target destination in general terms, and they give some examples. So you roughly get to where you wanted to go. The GM had some discretion over it, but you roughly got to go to the place you were going to go to. Alternatively, if you know the sigil sequence of a teleportation circle on another plane, so if you were at some wizard's tower on the plane of Acheron or Pandemonium or some such place, and there was a teleportation circle, you could go to that place. So that was a way to do it as well. This is a pretty high-level spell. It's 7th level. If the teleportation circle is too small to hold all the creatures you teleported, they appear in the closest unoccupied space next to the circle. Easy. The last paragraph is what made this an A+. You can use this spell to banish an unwilling creature to another plane. Choose a creature within your reach and make a melee spell attack against it, which spellcasters had a pretty good melee spell attack in 5th edition. On a hit, the creature must make a charisma save, which is very hard to do. Most creatures have a terrible charisma. If the creature fails this save, it is transported to a random location on the plane of existence you specify, gone. Creature so transported must find its own way back to your current plane of existence. This was a combat ender. So is this a spell that is easily cast? Yes. One action. Is this a spell I would memorize? Absolutely. I would take this spell. Is this one that is going to be integral to a build? It could be. There are many ways to make things fail saves. And is this a spell that is going to affect the rest of the party in a very, let's say, beneficial way? Absolutely. This gets rid of a big bad enemy, and they're stuck. If they have no way of plane shifting or traveling to other planes, they're stuck. And you could essentially teleport them to the plane of fire, and they would be gone, and probably would be cooked if they were not immune to fire. You could teleport them to the plane of water, and if they couldn't breathe underwater, then they drowned. So on and so forth. All right, so let's take a look at the 2024 version of the spell. The first thing you will notice, it is a bit shorter. Still a 7th level spell, still one action, still range of touch, still has the 250 gold piece tuning fork that you have to buy. So you still can link hands with up to 8 creatures. You can teleport them to another plane of existence. You generally get where you want to go. You can still use the teleportation circle stuff, but they took out the last paragraph where you could target a creature. You can no longer target a creature. So this now becomes a general utility spell and not an attack spell, or one that technically this could be used in combat to get away, but the other one could be used in combat to get away, or it could be used to end the combat by taking something and sending it someplace else. So, whoop, I didn't mean to do that. I did not mean to do that. All right, let's get the arrow going here. So this spell is now a C+. Yes, I probably would prepare this spell just to have it for the utility of being able to transport to another plane. And that is essentially it. Now you can no longer banish things. I mean, one thing I have a problem with. Banishment is a 4th level spell. And you can target a creature. Yes, it has range, but this is a 4th level spell. You can target a creature. It's got to save on a charisma save, or it gets transported someplace else. It gets transported to its home plane. This is a 4th level spell. This is a 7th level spell and probably should be able to do the same thing. Still usable by all the classes it could be used before, but it is drastically different than this version of the spell here that was in the Legacy version, where you could just bamp something away. So, do I think the other version was too powerful? Nah. I mean, it gave a saving throw. It was a touch attack. It was powerful, yes. Was it too powerful? Nah, maybe not. Banishment, I mean, as a DM, I never liked it because that was another kind of combat ender. All my players loved the spell Banishment. So, and one thing I don't get here is this says under damage and effect, it says Banishment. Under this one, it says Banishment, but it doesn't banish anything anymore. So I don't know why this is still in here. That should not be there, because it doesn't really do that anymore. It's a teleport. It has no damage, and the effect is just a teleport. It's not a banishment. You're not banishing anything anywhere else. So, okay. So let's talk about this spell in previous editions of Dungeons & Dragons. And we're going to get rid of the rating bar here. Here's Plane Shift. It was a 5th level spell, and it was a 5th level cleric spell. So it was only usable by clerics. So clerics were the only ones that could actually plane shift. And when you plane shift, when the plane shift spell is cast, the cleric moves himself or herself or some other creature, only one, to another plane of his existence. The recipient of the spell will remain in the new plane until sent forth by some like means. If several persons link hands in a circle, up to 7 can be affected by the plane shift at the same time. The material component of the spell is a small forked metal rod, so that has carried over. The exact size and metal type dictating to which plane of existence you will send the affected creature. An unwilling victim must be touched in order to be sent thusly, and in addition, the creature also is allowed a saving throw, and if the latter is successful, the effect of the spell is negated. So, again, you could teleport to 7 creatures, not 8. You needed the tuning fork. They didn't have the teleportation circle stuff in Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. This is 1st edition Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. And you could, so Gary Gygax wrote this in here, you could touch something and teleport it away. All right, let's look at 2nd edition. Here's 2nd edition. Again, it is a 5th level priest spell, not a cleric anymore, but a priest. And it's permanent. It was a range of touch. And when plane shift is cast, the priest moves himself or some other creature to another plane of existence. The recipient of the spell remains in the new plane until sent forth by some like means. That means they're stuck unless they can get out of it. If several persons link hands, up to 8. So now it went from 7 to 8. And then it's still the forked metal rod. And unwilling creatures must be touched. You got to attack them with a successful attack roll to be sent. In addition, the creature also gets a saving throw. If the saving throw is successful, it's negated. Note that the pinpoint accuracy is rarely achieved. Arriving at a random distance from an intended destination is common. And so again, we've got all the elements of this spell. It's got the rod that you have to use. You could choose you or another creature, or up to 8 to go with you. And so it had a utility portion and an attack portion. So it was still a great spell. And then here is the 3rd edition version of this spell. Now they've added Sorcerer and Wizard. So it's a 5th level Cleric spell and a 7th level Sorcerer Wizard spell. Was a standard action and a range of touch. Creature touched or up to 8 willing creatures there, and it had a will save that negated. You move yourself or some other creature to another plane of existence or alternate dimension. If several willing persons link hands, as many as 8 can be affected. Then the precise accuracy thing is there. Now, they get a little bit more descriptive about this. From the material plane, you can reach another plane, though you appear 5 to 500 miles from your intended destination. So you can say, I want to go to this particular keep in the Elysian Fields. And you could end up 500 miles away. So that's still a long way. Note, plane shift transports creatures instantaneously and then ends. The creature needs to find other means back. So you could touch something and send it away. You move yourself or some other creature to another plane of existence or alternate dimension. And they get a will save. They failed it, they're gone, and then they got to find their way back, and that's in the note there. It says plane shift. If you look at the note, let me find my cursor here. There it is. It likes to hide when I don't look at it for a while. There's the note there. Plane shift transports creatures instantaneously and then ends. Creatures need to find other means if they are to travel back. That's it. And then there's the focus. It's the metal rod again. So all in all, this spell has remained essentially the same until 2014 or 2024, where they took out the combat version of this spell where you could send something else away. So you and up to 8 willing targets who link hands in a circle are transported to a different plane. You can specify a target destination. Yeah, there's nothing on here that says that you can send one creature away. So they got the circle. That's it. So I don't understand why they took this apart, but man, that is a huge, giant nerf. All right, that is what I got for everybody today. I appreciate everybody tuning in, and I will catch everybody